Let's look at the domain and period of the sine and cosine. The domain of the sine and cosine is the set of all real numbers. To determine the range of these two functions, consider the unit circle. What are the bounds for x and y? Think domain and range from algebra or pre-calculus. Did you get that the bounds for x are -1 to 1 and the bounds for y -1 to 1? So that corresponds to the bounds for the cosine and sine. Remember the last video. Remember wrapping the string. How many times did it go around? Many or an infinite? So each xy has an infinite number of t's. Recall that the circumference of the unit circle is 2 pi. Therefore, a length of 2 pi coincides with each point as the string goes around. For example, consider t equal to pi over 3 on the first revolution. Stop the video, please. Read the rest of it. And then go on. All right. So, the cosine of pi over 3 equals the cosine of pi over 3 plus 2 pi. Be careful doing your arithmetic. So the cosine of pi over 3 is the same as the cosine of 7 pi over 3. Similarly, add 6 pi to pi over 4. Do the arithmetic. The tangent of pi over 4 is the same as the tangent of 25 pi over 4. But the tangent of pi over 4, notice pi over 4, functions that behave in a repetitive or cyclic manner are periodic. Definition of periodic functions. A function f is periodic when there exists a small positive number c such that f of t plus c equals f of t. The smallest number c for which f is periodic is the period. Then the period of the sine and cosine is 2 pi. We will discuss the others later. Right, this is known as the fundamental period. Another interesting feature of a function is that it can be even, odd, or neither. Recall the definition of even and odd from algebra. So notice that the cosine and secant turn out to be even, while the sine, cosine, tangent, and cotangent are odd. This idea will be used extensively in other courses and when we do identities in the next chapter. Technology. There will be times when a calculator is used extensively. It will be necessary when needing the circular function of an arc or angle measure not included in the 20 previous studied. The first thing to remember is to be sure your calculator is set for either radians or degrees. So let's check it out. We'll start with the CX. Right, notice I'm pushing on the buttons to show you which ones we want. Document, notice come down here to settings, document settings, see where radian is located. You need to remember that because we will need it to change between radians and degrees. All right, notice we clicked on trig, we got the trig functions, we want the sine. All right, let's check the sine of pi. Notice there's a key for that, divided by 5. Now, that's not a very descriptive number there. So let's go back up, bring down the sine of pi over 5, hit Control Enter, and it changes it to a decimal. All right, let's try another one. Let's go to trig and try a tangent. Let's get pi here, divided by 7, and let's get a trick. Put a decimal point after the 7. Then when you hit enter, we automatically have a decimal digit. Right? Now, if you've got a TI-89, let's check out how to use it. The first thing we want to do is make sure it's in radians. So you will go to mode on your calculator, come down to radian, and make sure it's in radians, not degrees. Then enter save, hit save. All right, now we're ready, and you'll find a key on the number pad that says sine. So we want the sine, and let's start with pi over 5. So hunt for the pi on your number, divided by 5. Not a very descriptive number. So now we're going to hit diamond enter, and when we hit diamond enter, we get this nice decimal digit, which is very nice. Let's try the tangent here. Whoops, got the wrong parenthesis. Let's try again. Tangent pi over 7, put a decimal point, and we automatically get a decimal. So you now know how to use your calculator.